We embalmed the plant. We powdered its face with potency numbers and laid it in a casket. You can still light it, but the warmth is gone. Before cannabis was a commodity, it was a companion, showing up for us in personal and specific ways. It was a time travel device, connecting us to our ancestors, breath, soil, and each other. It wasn't perfect, but the heart was connection. And today, the marketplace treats the same plant like a SKU. The magic didn't vanish. It was boxed, barcoded, and marked up. Cannabis is one of the oldest plant allies that humans have worked with. It's older than recorded history, older than most religious systems, and older than capitalism by thousands of years. It's seen our species through ceremony, war, migration, celebration, grief, and evolution. And in many cultures, it was considered sacred, a portal into a higher vibration. But capitalism doesn't care about teachers. It chews them up and spits them out as consumable commodities. It turns them into line items. And that's exactly what it's done to cannabis too. Now, instead of being sacred, it's all about profit, and it's stripping away the plant's magic. Walk into just about any dispensary, and what do you see? Shelf after shelf screaming 30% THC, like that number's the holy grail. But the truth is that high THC doesn't mean strong weed. It doesn't even mean good weed. It's a metric used to manipulate the consumer. And the entire industry is built on duping them into thinking higher numbers equals better quality. Now, the irony is that some of the best cannabis, the most healing, the most inspiring, the most aligned products don't come close to hitting those numbers. Cannabis was once a symbol of abundance, a plant that grew so freely it was called a weed. But capitalism doesn't know what to do with abundance. It only knows how to control it, tax it, patent it, restrict it, and then resell it to you at a 40% markup. When profit becomes the only motivator, you lose the real dimensions of the experience, the connection, the nuance, the medicine. Because the system is not designed for wholeness. It's designed for output. Capitalism rewards what sells, not what heals. It rewards spectacle over substance. Hey, I'm Tabitha Fritz, and this is the second video in this mini-series on cannabis, capitalism, and consciousness. I've spent a decade in the cannabis industry and a lifetime as a seeker. This video is about how a system obsessed with profit reshapes not just the weed we buy, but how we think and feel and relate, and how we take the plant back. So let's get into it. Capitalism is when the people, not the government, own businesses and property to make money. Now, people choose what to buy and sell, and businesses compete with each other, which is called a market. This competition and ownership is supposed to make things better for everyone. Here's how it works in a perfect vacuum. Let's say you have an idea for a new water bottle that keeps water cold for 24 hours. So you start a company. Now you buy supplies and you hire employees. People buy your water bottles for money. And now after you've paid your supplies and your employees' wages, you hopefully have some money left over. That's called profit. Now you can use this profit to buy more things for your water bottle factory or hire more people. Now your friend sees your success and starts a water bottle company too. They try to sell them for less or make them better than yours. That's competition. Now in a free market, the best water bottles at the right prices win. Now this story works really well early on in the system, but we're not early anymore. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with capitalism as a concept. In fact, I think it's one of the better market systems out there. But in any system that's run by imperfect and unhealed people, things are simply bound to go wrong eventually. And we've reached the point where the system serves the top, not the many. Money flows upward and then stalls. We're inside a machine that runs on us. Now, almost 100 years ago, economists predicted the end of capitalism and what we're currently seeing in Western society. We've got the hoarding of wealth by a tiny minority, the erosion of workers' rights, rising poverty levels, nationalism and intolerance for others' ideas, tax rules that favor the rich, and essential services like healthcare and education are gated by wealth. As a society, we've lost our connection with ourselves and with something greater than us and with each other. All we care about is what can be consumed in this moment. Everything has become a commodity. Artists have to make what they know will sell instead of what's in their heart. The musicians who sell the most streams aren't the ones who come up with new and innovative music, but the ones who pump out one identical pop song after another. Look at your Instagram feed and count how many times an influencer or a celebrity tries to sell you a lifestyle that has nothing to do with real authenticity. We live in a world that says we're free, but that is a curated illusion, my friends. We're told that we have choice, brands, packaging, percentages, but most of those choices funnel back to the same incentives. That isn't freedom, that's training. Have you ever chased the number and regretted the experience? Tell me about it in the comments if you have. When she was about 5, my daughter asked me what a billionaire was. And I found some way to explain to her what a billion of something was and how massive that number actually is. And then when I asked her to explain the term back to me, now I don't know if this was on purpose or on accident or if she just learned about Pokemon or something, but she didn't call them billionaires. She called them dragonaires because they hoard money like dragons sitting on piles of gold. And to be honest, she nailed it. Hoarding billions of dollars while people go without food, while kids around the world starve, while communities collapse? That's not brilliance. That's not power. That's sickness. It's sociopathy. Look, money is supposed to move. It's supposed to flow through the system like blood in your body. Think about it. Blood's job is to move resources like oxygen all around your body so that they get to where they need to be. And in the same way, when money circulates around an economy and resources move, then society and people thrive. But when a few people at the top hoard it, it forms clots, blockages. Last night, I was taking out the recycling and I cut myself on an empty tomato can. Now, immediately, my body leapt into action, sending special blood cells to my thumb to form a clot to prevent me from bleeding out and dying on the kitchen floor. Now, the endocannabinoid system is the system that actually helps to modulate this whole process. And after this series, I'm going to do a video on the role of the endocannabinoid system, especially since it's come up in the news lately. But in a nutshell, its role is to help your body stay balanced. Now, when you cut your finger, the endocannabinoid system sends messages to the rest of your body that says, hey, we need more resources over here. Something's happened, things aren't going well. So then your body sends plasma and platelets to your finger or to wherever you've cut yourself so that it can heal itself. And just like in a healthy society, if you had an area where the majority of people were having an addiction or mental health crisis, or there was a natural disaster that just occurred, you'd send more resources to that area to help it heal itself and get healthy and functioning again, so that those people could continue to play their role in the economy and the society. Now, normally, if you're healthy, your body will just naturally dissolve the blood clot after the injury is healed. But sometimes things go wrong and clots form without an obvious injury, or they don't dissolve the way that they're supposed to. And when that happens, it's very dangerous. First of all, the clot can restrict the flow of blood in the area. It prevents the natural flow of resources to your thumb or the body part that needs to stay alive and thrive. Or even worse, the clot can come loose and flow through your heart to your lungs, where it prevents the blood from flowing properly all around your body. That's called a pulmonary embolism, and people die from that. You could also develop blood clots in your arteries, and those often lead to heart attacks or strokes. And when you've got clots in society, when you've got a few dozen dragonaires at the top hoarding all the resources, and when money and profitability are prioritized above everything else, including the health of the citizens, it's the same thing as having blood clots all around your body. And when society, just like your body, is full of clots, it dies. That's what we're living through. I want you to think about this. Where are the clots in your life right now? Money that doesn't move? Energy you put out that never returns? Or habits that you feed but never feed you back? And what's one way that you can get the blood moving this week? Now, when it comes to cannabis, we see the same stagnation around a single point. Companies crank out weed that's 30% THC or even higher because they think that's what's the most profitable, even though it doesn't create the best plant, it doesn't create the best experience, and it actually harms consumers in the long run. It's profit at the expense of the plant and the expense of the people. And then we wonder why we're seeing more cases of hyperemesis, more instances of cannabis use disorder, and more people losing their way with the plant. It is not that something is wrong with cannabis. It's that we're using it in the wrong ways. Fewer and fewer people are coming to the plant with intention. Fewer people are asking, how does this improve my life? How does this help me connect more deeply? And instead, the whole regulated and commercialized system is built on figuring out just how much we can extract, how much THC we can extract from the plant, how much money we can extract from the consumer's wallet, and how much labor we can extract from our workers without paying them a living wage. And what do we get in return? We get cannabis that is out of balance, people who are out of balance, an industry that is out of balance, and all the while we call it progress. In cannabis, this clotting shows up as preservation without life. We embalmed the plant. We powdered its face with potency numbers, dressed it in premium packaging, and laid it in a glass case. You can still light it up, but the warmth is gone. That's why so many more people are feeling anxious, more lost, more numb. Not because the plant is broken, but because the system put a living teacher into a showroom casket. Now, before I moved into the regulated cannabis industry, I was running an underground legacy market edibles company. I tell a story about moving that company into the regulated industry in a video that I will link up here on top. It was age restricted for some reason. I don't know. I think I probably swore too much. So you might not have seen it. But in many ways, before the industry was regulated, it was really like the Wild West. Producers just kind of did whatever they wanted to. There were no real rules, and it was like free market economics at its finest. Or worse, I guess, depending on how you look at it. And when it came to labeling the dosages of our products, our edibles, most edibles producers were simply equating the weight of the input to the amount of THC in the product. So if they were putting 100 milligrams of shatter into a chocolate bar, they would say it was 100 milligrams of THC. Now, obviously, this is incorrect because no input other than isolate is going to be close to 100% THC or any other cannabinoid. But these were early days, and we didn't have access to lab testing at the time. So our company based our labeling on the comparative effects to other products that were in the market. Now, my husband and I, who were running this company together, we knew this was a really inaccurate method of labeling our products. So as soon as we could find a lab that was willing to test them, we sent our edibles there to find out what they were actually dosed at. And what we found shocked us. Things we were labeling as 100 milligrams of THC were actually closer to 20 milligrams of THC. We really weren't sure what to do about it. We wondered if people would continue to buy our products if the dosages on our packaging were listed as much lower than other products in the market, even if our numbers were accurate and actually came from lab sheets. But we also knew that we couldn't continue to lie to our customers about what was in our products. So we just hoped that being honest and truthful would pay dividends in the end. And we launched an education campaign on our website and on our social media channels. We wrote posts detailing what we'd found and our commitment to only offering the truth and correct verifiable numbers to consumers. We didn't know if our customers would understand what we were doing, but we hoped that enough of them would see the truth. And what happened next really, really blew our minds. Not only did our customers get it and appreciate that we were giving them both accurate numbers and proper education, but other producers in the market began labeling their products with accurate dosages as well. By standing up for the truth, we started a trend in our local industry that was of huge benefit to both producers and consumers. Telling the truth was the best decision we could have made. But now we see producers in the legal market who game the system. They do things like adding keef to the bud before sending it off to the lab, or dehydrating the buds before they're tested, or basically just being in collusion with the labs to get the numbers back on their lab reports that will sell the most products to uneducated consumers. It's a short-term play that's based on a lie. They make zero attempt to educate consumers about the truth of high-potency products or the value of well-rounded lower-potency products. We see producers who are bold with their claims that don't match the value of the product that they deliver. Now, if honesty from brands is something that matters to you, let me know in the comments because I want to show this to producers. I know I probably sound really salty, but to be honest with you, this is a big part of the reason that I stepped away from the regulated industry, because cannabis stopped being a teacher and became a quarterly deliverable. Look, I have an MBA. I speak cash flow, but I also speak soul. And when we reduce a living ally and the people who grow and sell and consume it to line items, we split the soul of the plant into margins and metrics and marketing. That's the horcrux. Cannabis is not a CPG product. It was never meant to be commodified. It's a connector. It's a practice. It reminds us what it means to be human and helps us remember who we really are. Cosmic, magical, light-working beings. And this isn't just about cannabis. It's about the way we all suffer under systems that put profit over people. It is not meant to be that way. We're not meant to suffer. We're meant to thrive. And cannabis can help us find our way back to that. Because truly, as a society and as a world, we are lost. Now, this video is the second in a 5-part series about cannabis, consciousness, and capitalism. And in the third video, I'm going to get even more personal by showing you exactly how we actually create our own suffering and telling you how I've created mine. And then I'm going to teach you exactly how to stop creating your own suffering. So be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss it. And if you found some value in this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you know someone else who would find it interesting, please share it with them. If you want to see more, please be sure to turn on notifications for the channel. I'll see you in the next one.